Guys, today we are building a fire pit. We're gonna show you how to cut it out, how to grind it down, how to weld it up. It's an easy project. It's gonna be a super fun project to do if you need a break from working on your project car, or the wife's nagging you, or you need some time away from the kids. Highly recommend doing this. We're even gonna give you the CNC cut file at the end so you don't have to design your own. So let's dive in. For those of you who don't know, a plasma table is used for crafting precision cut parts out of sheets of steel or aluminum. The steel we're using is 1/8 of an inch thick, which you can see us setting up on the table now. This steel will give us the durability needed to stand up to high temperatures, while also keeping the fire pit light enough to pick up and easily move around or transport. This project is a breeze when using the CNC table. It only took us a few minutes to get everything set up. Since we are constructing this fire pit out of steel, this plasma table is the perfect tool for the job. The plasma cutter will slice right through the steel like butter, saving us hours of cutting time and giving us extremely precise edges to weld on later. If you want a more in-depth look at everything our CNC plasma table has to offer, we have plenty of videos on our channel showcasing this machine, including this one here. With our CNC file loaded onto the table, it's time to start cutting. All right, guys, we got the first piece of the fire pit cut out. It's already looking great. And yes, it is way easier than cutting by hand. But I do want to remind you guys that even though we're using a CNC table and we have this big piece of equipment, you can do this at home without all this, fancy stuff. So if I was at home, I would maybe use a cold cutting saw. It's no sparks. It's great for thicker metal. You could use an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel if you really wanted to. You could use a handheld torch on a plasma cutter. Those only run a couple $100 now. So there are different options besides spending a couple grand on a CNC table. But if you have one, it makes really light work of cutting this stuff out. So we're gonna move on to the other side. We're gonna cut out the rest of the fire pit here. Once that's done, really all that's left is tacking it together and welding it up. So let's get to it. All right, now the CNC is dialed. Now this is one of my favorite parts about using the bigger pieces of equipment like a CNC plasma table is, we got this dialed in. My CNC guy, Nick, helped me make sure that there was 0 slag on these pieces. So I'm gonna be able to come through this with like an angle grinder, buzz off any little pieces that are hanging on. But besides that, very little prep. So now we'll head over to the welding table, get everything mounted up. We got a couple bends to make and we'll be on our way to welding. So show you how we do this. So everything is over at the table now. I just kind of want to walk through what you're looking at here. So this is not a very complicated file. It's something we wanted to do. We wanted to make it easy so anybody could pick this up and really figure out, how to weld it and how to start using it. So on the sides here, these are like the legs. So these are actually going to get bent 90 degrees. We'll show you that in a second. Then we have 4 sides and the base. So something to note is a lot of fire pits you might see have a solid base with 1 or 2 drain holes. We decided to do a slotted base. That way all rainwater that comes down on it can drain right through. It's personal preference. Just make sure anything underneath your fire pit is non-flammable if you're doing it this way, because you will have some coals dropping out from underneath of it. Again, not a big deal for what we're using it for. So we're gonna get these legs bent up. Once we bend them up, we can start prepping all the metal, tacking it together, and honestly, we'll be having a fire, hopefully in the parking lot here soon. So let's get it done. All right, so there's probably some better tools like a press brake, but in the spirit of keeping this DIY friendly, we're gonna use a vise and some hammers to get this all the way over. It's a fire pit, it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, looking pretty good. We can fine tune if we need to once we get the other one done. With the legs bent, we can run an angle grinder with a flap wheel across the pieces to remove any remaining slag. This makes for a nicer finish, but it'll also make sure that these parts fit together a little better. And then we run over the grinder marks with 80 grit on a DA sander. This is one of those things that I just forgot about, so I went to clean up the edges with the DA. Again, I'm just trying to really take off any like nil scale, any large debris, just make it a little better for when I'm welding it up. But when you don't clean your parts, when you don't wipe them down before you sand, you get really bad buildup in your paper, and your paper wears out really fast. That's just a rookie mistake by me. So make sure you wipe down your parts before you actually take like a DA with 80 grit to them. So we're gonna do that now. All right, so we got everything cut out. We got everything cleaned up. You saw me taking a DA to the edges. I just wanted to get like the heavy stuff off there. It's MIG welding, it's gonna burn through a lot. So my metal is clean enough. So now what I'm gonna do is a test piece. This is actually the cutouts of the sides of the fire pit. I wanna make sure my weld settings are correct. I'm using the MP200i, settings around 17 volts right now, I think, and around 330 inches per minute. We're gonna run this, see how it does. If I'm happy with it, then we can move on to the big stuff. I'm not gonna bore you guys with any more talking, I'm just gonna get into it. You might be watching this saying, wow, Dave, you have no idea what you're doing. Well, that's not entirely true. I designed the project, I just didn't design, the step-by-step in the order. So what we're doing at this very moment is trying to make sure that the base sits in properly and flush. It looks like it's gonna have to be about a ½ inch from the very bottom of the sides here, which is not a problem. I just wanted to make sure that I tested all the possible scenarios before I actually went and welded it in place. But it looks like that's where it's gonna fit. And again, it's a fire pit, doesn't have to be perfect, so that's what we're gonna do. I will get this last side tacked on, I will drop that in the bottom, tack everything together, get the feet on, and we are one step closer to me having a fire pit. All right, so we got everything tacked into place after just a little bit of struggling, but it's looking good, it's solid, it's relatively square. Again, it's a beginner project, doesn't need to be perfect, but I'm happy with it. I think it's gonna look good on my back deck. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, get this welded up. Just wanted to keep in mind, we're not welding the entire thing, the entire seam bottom to top or top to bottom. We're just gonna be doing about 2 to 3 inch stitch welds every couple inches. All right, and should be done in just an hour or so here. All right, so we got the sidewalls welded. We have the legs welded on. All that's left is to weld in that bottom grate here. Once I tack these into place, this thing should be solid as a rock. Well guys, there you have it. We got a fire pit. This is a fun little project. It's gonna be great to have around the house, especially during some summer nights. Let's recap a little bit. Took the CNC file over to the table, cut it out, brought it back here, cleaned it up, tacked it into place, and welded it home. Honestly, this is a super easy project. It'll probably take you about a day if you're cutting out the metal by hand. I highly recommend doing this if you need a break from working on your car, or you want something to do around the house. Grab one of these, build a fire pit. It's fun with the family. If you do want the CNC design file, use the link in our description. You can download that right to your desktop. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're interested in any of the tools or equipment we used in this video, you can also use the link in the description to visit eastwood.com.